Welcome to Reflections Match. To begin, create a new account. Once you have a new account, you can then log in. So we'll go ahead and do that. The first time that you log in, you'll actually be taken through, I recommend saving your password. You'll be taken through the actual onboarding. So to begin, just follow along. So what we do is to start with, it uses your name that you signed up with, and we want to create your foundation. So we'll click on this, and this is where I can upload a photo of myself. I can then add a tagline like AI solutions architect. And I could also then, I could track and put in any interest that I have, as well as here I want to actually go ahead and type in whatever my professional North Star is. What's your professional objective right now? This tells the AI what to prioritize, as well as what's your creative spark. That's definitely important too, so we want to fill that all out. The next thing we want to do is connect with our LinkedIn. If you're logged in on your browser, just connect this. It's very simple. All you need to do is just click, got it, I'm ready. It will open up LinkedIn, assuming that you're actually logged in on that browser. It then goes through your account, and then soon you'll see that it's been complete. Great, we can now close the tab, and it will then take a moment, and it will then be analyzed and updated. The uploading of your resume or bio is simple as clicking this button and then selecting the file. Once we have that, we want to go ahead and download the actual browser extension. This is what we use to connect with the web browser and collect reflections. So if we click on this, it's going to take us to this page right here. I already have it. You just want to make sure that you have it pinned to your taskbar. Once you have that installed, we can go back and you'll see it's now here, and you'll see that you're logged in. Once you logged in, you'll see yourself, and now we can actually put this to use. So the way that this works is, let's say, for instance, you find something of interest. Let's say this article about Meta's AI taking over when you die. Great, I find this interesting. What I want to do is capture the page. So I'll click on this, and then what you do is you crop the part of the page that's actually of interest to you. The reason why is because if you look at the rest of this page, a lot of times there's ads, there's a lot of other clutter, and that can confuse the AI analysis and give you less high quality results. So AI after death is why this is important to me. So then I'll save it, and then I can then go back to this, and it shows that I've now captured this, and it's now saved onto my dashboard. And so as you see here, my thoughts, and it did its AI analysis of why this is actually something of interest or of value. And that's kind of that. If I want, I can click on this and it'll open that page back up. We'll see how that can become useful later. Let's go to another page. I'm going to use my other account, which is actually a little bit more filled in. And with this page, you can see I actually have quite a few reflections already saved. And what happens then is, once you do, if you click on your profile, it then can do a reflection analysis where it has a narrative bio where it now understands things that are important to me based on what core traits I'm actually following, what things I'm actually capturing as being important. This is very important because we'll see it ties in very well with some of the other features. One of them is the chat function. Is I can say, tell me more about AI security in the reflections I've recently captured. And so it's going to look through, and I can actually now chat with the things that I've reflected. And what it does is it looks at who I am as a person, what's important to me, and is now going to give me a strategic alignment, why this is important to be. This is based on what I'm interested in doing. Here's the insight. Here's why. Here's the meta of what it's actually looked at. And then here's a leverage move. So here now it's giving me something specific that I can do to actually learn more about this or develop my skills. I can also do things on my personal side, my more creative side, like tell me about some other guitar players I might like. And so it'll look at the things that I've done, like, well, you actually had an interest in David Gilmour, so you might want to look at The Edge, Mark Knopfler, and Jeff Beck, all of which are great. So the leverage move is now it's giving me something to do. So here's listen to some of their most iconic albums. Look at identify three techniques or sound. This is actually something really cool. So you can chat with your reflections here. The next thing to look at is what's called the radar. And what's interesting about the radar is that every week it comes up with three things for you that it thinks might be a good pursuit for you to grow and develop your own personal skills. So it's giving me a deep dive pursuit, a wild card, as well as a spark. So what we can do is if you look at one of these, like a Grateful Dead, AR Cloud Mastery. So I am very interested in augmented reality. So I'm reading this. Oh, this sounds good. Research. I'm going to save this to the board. And then this gets saved to my active pursuits board. What I can then do is when I'm ready, click start. And what this does is now it activates the AI coach. And so again, taking into account who I am, what's important to me, and the things that I find interesting, it puts that all together and now it gives me a strategic assessment of why this is important to me. Here's my getting started checklist. Here's the strategic learning path. And then the best part is the first 2 hour sprint. It's one thing to learn, it's another thing to do. So here you go, your first 2 hours, here's what you should do. And then what's cool is I can then take something and it has a coaching chat like, tell me more about spatial mapping techniques. And I can click that as an update. And then once again, taking all the things that it knows about me, all the context, it then can see you want to know about this. Here's some things that you need to know. So I can use this, and then all these updates are saved as well. Something else that's actually really interesting is another chat function is here's something that just came out. And what you can actually do is you can chat directly from the browser extension. So I can click on this. I'm going to highlight the thing, and it's like governance rules for AI usage laws. And then I will save this reflection. But what I can do, again, now that I've actually have a persona understood and it understands who I am, I can actually ask my reflection. So what this does is once again, it references who I am, what's important to me, what things I found interesting, what things I'm looking at. And then it's going to analyze this. And without even leaving the web page, I'm actually able to chat with this. And so here is why this is relevant and the signal. So what's the important part of this? Again, based on for you. And then here is something that you can do if you want to actually move into this. And then here's even an expansion question. So directly from the browser, I now can actually have a much more interactive experience with my topics and things of interest. Another function is the search function. And so if I am logged in and on my dashboard and I want to look back and think about something I might have captured a month or two ago and I can't really remember what it was, I can look, and as you can see, it does have the hashtags. I can search by those, I can search by date, or I can just put in the keyword. And here are all the reflections that I've captured that have something to do with Claude. So once again, I can find something. Here's this. Here's the better prompting skills. Great. Takes me right back to the page that I was looking at. We also want to pay attention to the radiance level, etc. You want to move up. You start at 0, and the further you get to 100, the better it understands you. Enjoy your reflections, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you think.